Breaking: Arsenal's £95 million Julian Alvarez bombshell. Atletico Madrid's shock response. Arsenal transfer. News: welcome back to Arsenal, Fans Focus Media, the home of Arsenal. Transfer news, breaking updates, dramatic transfer stories, and everything happening around the Gunners. Arsenal supporters, the transfer window has exploded. A massive transfer story is dominating the conversation. The name at the centre of the storm is none other than Julian Alvarez. Potential tactical plans to Atletico Madrid's possible reaction, this is one transfer story every Arsenal fan needs to watch. So make sure you like this video, subscribe to Arsenal Fans Focus Media, and turn on the notification bell because the Arsenal transfer window could be about to become absolutely explosive. Arsenal's biggest transfer dream? For years, Arsenal supporters have dreamed of seeing a world-class striker leading the line at the Emirates Stadium. Mikel Arteta has built an incredible football team. The defence is strong, the midfield is powerful, the wide players are dangerous, the team has developed an incredible mentality. But at the highest level, one thing can separate a good team from a trophy-winning team: a world-class match-winning attacker. The Argentine forward has developed into one of the most complete attacking players in world football. He is not simply a traditional number 9. He is not simply a winger. He is not simply a second striker. He can do almost everything. He can lead the line. He can drop deep. He can link play. He can press defenders. He can create chances. He can score goals. He can play in different attacking positions. And that versatility is exactly why a manager like Mikel Arteta could be extremely interested. Why Arsenal could want Julian Alvarez. Imagine Arsenal's attacking options: Bukayo Saka on the right, Gabriel Martinelli attacking from the left, Martin Ødegaard creating chances through the middle, Declan Rice controlling the midfield, and Julian Alvarez leading the attack. That would be an incredibly exciting combination. But the attraction is not only about goals. Arteta wants his team to play with intensity. He wants his forwards to press. He wants them to move constantly. He wants them to create spaces for one another. He wants intelligent attackers capable of understanding multiple tactical roles. Julian Alvarez fits this philosophy perfectly. Imagine Arsenal losing possession high up the pitch. The opposition defender receives the ball. Before he can look up, Alvarez is already pressing. The defender panics. He makes a mistake. Arsenal recover the ball. Ødegaard receives possession. Saka begins his run. Alvarez moves into space. One pass, one finish. Goal. That is the type of aggressive, intelligent football that Arteta wants to see. Alvarez would not simply wait inside the penalty box. He would constantly be involved. He would make runs. He would drag defenders away. He would create space. He would bring energy. And he would give Arsenal another elite-level finisher. The reported £95 million. Figure now comes the biggest part. Million figure now comes the biggest part of the story. The reported transfer figure. £95 million. That is an enormous amount of money. If Arsenal were genuinely prepared to make an offer of that size, it would send a powerful message across world football. Arsenal would be saying, "We are not here simply to compete. We are here to win." The Gunners have spent years building a competitive squad. The club has invested in young talent. The club has developed a strong tactical identity. The club has built a powerful team. But now the expectation is different. Arsenal supporters want trophies. They want the Premier League. They want the Champions League. They want unforgettable nights at the Emirates Stadium. A transfer for Julian Alvarez would represent enormous ambition. It would be the kind of signing that could immediately change the expectations surrounding the team. But there is one massive problem: Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid's shock response. Atletico Madrid are not a club that easily allows their biggest stars to leave. They understand the importance of Julian Alvarez. They understand his quality. They understand his value and they know that replacing a player of his level would be extremely difficult. This is why Arsenal could face a major battle. Even if the Gunners are ready to make a huge offer, Atletico Madrid may not be willing to accept. The Spanish club could demand more money. They could reject the proposal. They could insist that Alvarez remains in Madrid. They could attempt to convince the player that his future is still at the club. This is where the transfer story becomes truly dramatic. Arsenal may be interested, the player may be admired, but Atletico Madrid will have the final say in any potential negotiation. And the Spanish club's response could determine everything. Will Atletico Madrid open the door, or will they slam it shut? He knows how to move defenders away from their positions. That could be extremely important for Arsenal. Imagine Alvarez dropping deep. A defender follows him. Suddenly space appears behind. Bukayo Saka attacks that space. Alvarez receives the ball and plays a quick pass. Saka is through. That is the type of combination that could make Arsenal incredibly difficult to defend against. The dream Arsenal attack. Let's imagine the possibilities. Arsenal have the ball. Declan Rice receives possession in midfield. He looks forward. Martin Ødegaard is moving between the lines. Bukayo Saka stays wide. Gabriel Martinelli is ready to attack the space. Julian Alvarez moves across the front line. The opposition defence does not know what to do. The defender is closing him down. He takes one touch. He shoots. The ball flies into the corner. Goal! The proposal arrives. The football world waits. Then Atletico Madrid respond, rejected. The transfer dream appears to be over, but Arsenal do not give up. A new offer is prepared. The negotiations continue. The player begins to consider his future. The pressure increases. The supporters wait. The media reports every development. Then suddenly, another offer arrives. Could Arsenal go beyond £95 million? Could the club make an even bigger statement? This is why transfer windows are so dramatic. Everything can change in one day. The player's decision. Of course, the player's decision would also be incredibly important. A transfer at this level is not only about clubs. The player must want the move. Julián Álvarez would need to consider his future carefully. Would Arsenal be the right club? Would Arteta's system suit him? Would he become the main striker? Would he play alongside other stars? Would Arsenal compete for the trophies he wants? These are all important questions. Fans celebrate. Social media is filled with reactions. The Emirates Stadium waits for his first appearance. The anticipation grows. Then comes the debut. The player walks onto the pitch. The crowd sings. The famous Arsenal shirt is on his back. The stadium is loud and every supporter is asking the same question. How many goals will he score? Could this be Arsenal's biggest transfer ever? A £95 million move would be one of the biggest transfer stories in Arsenal history. It would demonstrate that the club is willing to compete financially with Europe's elite. It would show that Arsenal are prepared to make huge investments in world-class talent. And it would immediately increase expectations. Supporters would expect goals. They would expect trophies. They would expect big performances. But that is the pressure of playing for Arsenal. The club has enormous expectations. Every player must understand that. Alvarez has the mentality to handle pressure. That is one of the reasons he could be such an attractive target. The shock transfer twist. But here is where the story becomes even more interesting. What if Atletico Madrid are not simply deciding whether to sell? What if they are preparing a shock response? Could they demand a massive fee? Could they attempt to extend Alvarez's contract? Could they tell Arsenal that the player is completely unavailable? Could another European giant enter the race? This is why Arsenal supporters must remain alert. The situation could change at any moment. One report could create excitement. Another report could create disappointment. Then suddenly a new development could completely change the story. That is football. That is the transfer window. Would he be better than Arsenal's current attacking options? Could Alvarez help Arsenal win the Premier League? Could he be the player to bring Champions League glory to the Emirates? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this massive Arsenal transfer update, make sure you like the video, subscribe to Arsenal Fans Focus Media, and turn on the notification bell for the latest Arsenal transfer news, breaking updates, transfer rumours, match analysis, and exclusive Arsenal content.